right, so you're giving a presentation at the 2024 National No-Tillage Conference about the evolution of yield monitors in the last 25 years. So tell us, what are two or three key takeaways that attendees will learn from you during that presentation?
Well, I'm a ag engineer by training, and ag engineers, any engineer loves to play with new equipment, new toys, new technologies. And by sort of default, 25 years ago, our department, University of Nebraska, we didn't have anybody working with yield monitors. And so out of sort of a, Paul, can you do this? I started working with yield monitors, started learning, playing with it a little bit. And then the next logical question was farmers say, well, what do I do with the data? I go, I don't know. You need a few years of agronomic data decision making to be able to decide what to do with that data. Well, after working with it for about 5 years, people say, now what do I do with the data? I go, I don't know yet. We're still learning about what you can do with the data. But in those first few years, I learned real fast the yield monitor was not a silver bullet, a magic black box that is going to answer all your questions. It just gave you more information to help make informed management decisions. And so what I was doing was trying to evaluate how reliable, how repeatable, how good is that data you're gathering. And there was a huge argument at the time. You know, do you record data on a 1 second interval, a 5 second interval, whatever? And the huge argument was, well, how precise is that location in the field? Well, I started studying combine dynamics, how grain flows through a combine. And anybody who's driven a combine or operated a combine knows that when you first enter a field, it might take 10 seconds for that first grain to appear in the grain tank. Well, as you exit the field, the combine's shaking everything through. It might be still trickling the grain tank 20 seconds later. So now if I got plus or minus 30 seconds where that grain came from, what difference does it make if I record 1 second data or 2 second or 5 second data? And again, when it comes down to making a management decision, 1 second data might be only a foot and a half of travel at a mile per hour. Well, am I going to make a management decision based on that foot and a half? No, I'm going to make a management decision based upon who knows what. Maybe it's a 120-foot wide sprayer. Well, that I can take 10-second data and probably have enough information to decide. If I'm controlling nozzle by nozzle, then maybe that 1 second data is needed. But again, if that 1 second data is plus or minus 30 seconds in the field because of the combine dynamics, again, what does it make sense? And so I've actually spent a lot of time on helping farmers realize that, no, this is just another layer of data for you to decide. And how can you minimize introducing any errors in the little bit of data you do have? And I got a figure I use in my presentations of what affects yield from no effect to great effect, and then what does it cost to correct it from a freebie to you can't afford to correct it. And by having a graph like that and putting data out there, you know, for instance, drainage, you can put a dot of drainage, it affects yield, yes. Well, it does in Ohio, but it doesn't in Nebraska. But again, so it's that dot is a different place for everybody. Put all the dots on there that affect crop production. Now, what does that yield monitor tell you? I'm not sure. I need a lot of other data to go with it. And so a lot of times we use the yield map to explore other areas of the field. It's maybe a report card of what you did this year, but it also tells you where's the problem area in the field. And so again, my presentation is going to focus more on what do you do with the yield monitor and not what can you hook to it to control. Because again, that drainage I just said, well, there might be pH, it might be nitrogen, might be phosphorus, might be variety selection, it might be crop selection. Again, that yield monitor is not going to be plugged into an implement making those decisions for you, but it's going to give you the information to help make those management decisions.
All right. And I understand you're also going to be leading a classroom discussion. You want to tell us just a little bit about that as well?
Well, the classroom discussion, I'm going to be talking about the systems approach to no-till and soil health. And it's because there's a lot of producers out there that, again, are looking for a magic bullet that does one thing. You know, we hear a lot about certain cover crops will solve all your world's problems. Well, no, it's going to be a systems approach. And when I think about the systems approach, It depends where you start, but it's a huge circle when it comes to crop production, from seeding through growing through harvest. My systems approach actually starts at harvest, is spread that residue, get it to work for you, protect the soil, and then everything going on from there. Try to keep the field as uniform as possible. Try to keep weed control, diseases, insects, all those kind of things properly managed, because each step affects the next. Back in the olden days of tillage, if you didn't do a good job of spreading residue behind the combine, you just took down the disc and hit it again to cut it up and bury it. No-tillers can't do that. You have to make sure the combine's set properly. And again, that systems approach includes the crop rotation, includes diversity, includes my crop protection product selections, things like this. And again, a lot of our university research, unfortunately, has never addressed all of that. And it's simply because, for instance, John Deere is going to fund, they'll fund something about equipment, but they're not going to fund something about disease management, for instance. Likewise, Pioneer and our Corteva will fund hybrid and variety selection, but they don't care that much about how much water's infiltrating in that field. And so again, that systems approach we have to learn by doing or learn by observing, and that's where I enjoy sharing a lot of things I've learned across the years from producers. I'm going to show some slides that some people say, well, you've been showing that same picture for 20 years. Well, that principle hasn't changed. If we got to have the water soaking in the soil, that systems approach means I need good soil structure. I need soil protection. I don't get a crust. I need everything to fit in that system. And so that's where we're going to use a lot of real field situations, that presentation. How do you make no-till successful and build soil health?
All right. Well, sounds like two great presentations. So if you're listening, hope to see you at the 2024 National No-Tillage Conference so you can check these out.